Ladies and gentlemen, it's time. It's Thursday. It's Korner Booth pregame.
Hey, is this thing on? Hello, testing.
No debate, cause they sold. I'm too official, got the drip, I got the sauce. Bring the proof when it's time to tell the truth. I'll be at the corner booth, find me in the corner booth, yeah. Still standing and defiant. Slay the competition, cause I'm walking like a giant.
What's up, Twitter world? There's my little OJ.
He's got an autographed OJ photo.
Has anybody heard the story about the Glizzy guy?
He fits today's generation.
Oh yeah, speaking of lady basketball players, Lola Bunny, bonkable. Yes or no?
There we go. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in to the Korner Booth Podcast, episode 332. Happy Memorial Day to all of those in America. Remember, this is not a day obviously it's the beginning of summer. It's the day to barbecue, celebrate, hang with family. But make sure you take a second today and just think about all those who lost their lives defending this country and defending freedom around the world. That is what this holiday is all about. But yeah, that's why I got the camo hat on today. This is actually the Memorial Day hat from the Diamondbacks from 2 years ago. Either way, should be a good show today. Joining me now is my co-host for the day. Matt is out and about with some family stuff. He could not make it today. It's my co-host and producer, ladies and gentlemen, Nate Nguyen.
Hi, boss. How you doing? Happy Monday. Happy Memorial Day as well to everyone, all the veterans who sacrificed their lives for our freedom in this country. But yeah, just good to see you, boss, as always, and looking forward to the show today for sure.
Oh yeah, we got an interesting show. So Nate, would you like to tell the folks how many games I need to win next week to clinch our 4-pack?
Well, basically just one. So literally just one game. That's literally it. So we might as well just wrap it up in the books and just say congrats to you, boss, already. It's been a fun UFL season.
Oh yeah.
I'm surprised I even, was even this close to being in first, I guess, in a way. But Matt won the 6-pack this past season, so it's only right that you won this one.
He's won the last 3 times in a row. So
yeah. You needed something, boss. You needed something.
Yeah, I know. It was funny. The 3 years I won, nobody paid up for Jack. But the second somebody else wins, we'll pay up now. Where are my 3 jerseys? That's all right. I would have been too fat to fit in them anyway at that point.
Hey,
so
at least you're gonna get the hat this time when you win.
Yep, I haven't picked out a hat yet, but we'll see what happens. We got next week. Yeah, UFL was weird this weekend. So I shot 3-1. You shot, I believe, 2-2. And
correct.
Matt went 1-3.
Yes, Matt was going for the. Just pretty much most of the underdogs, I guess, to try to catch up to you. But
yeah, because I picked, I think, all the favorites except for Birmingham. Interesting week because St. Louis had backups in from the second half on, and they still rolled the Bahamas. The Renegades honestly looked like they were putting up some firepower against. Against the
Showboats.
Sorry, I couldn't. I'm like the crappy team from the western side of Memphis. And then obviously you had the fun games where the Stallions, with a quarterback I'd never seen before, put up some, and they upset who was going into this week the championship favorite, and our boy Zach. Shout out to Zach for coming on last week, by the way. His Michigan Panthers, the Stallions ended up pulling off the upset with backups in. And last but not least, we had to have one upset this week, one real upset, and that was the Roughnecks knocking off Matt's defenders last night. Rough.
Yeah, no pun intended.
We talked actually about ad nauseum with Zach about how the Roughnecks are kind of this up and coming team. They're kind of like the team that might make some noise next year if they can keep a lot of the roster and coaching staff together. And you know what? It just looked yesterday. I got to watch about half the game before everyone who came over for my little bonfire barbecue yesterday decided that 7 o'clock means 5 o'clock. So I'm literally in the middle of working out and my doorbell's ringing and my parents like, hey, people are here. I'm like, what?
Surprise!
It was like, and she's like, yeah, you never told us a time. I'm like, bullshit. I definitely told you a time. I totally told them a time. They just got bored and like, oh, we'll just come over early. I'm like,
Looks for the receipts. It's right here. I said right here.
I didn't even
7
bother checking at that point. I just hopped in the shower for 10 seconds, came out, lit a cigar up, lit the bonfire, grabbed the cooler of beer, and I said, all right, we'll just improv it.
There you go, folks.
And made some really good chipotle maple barbecue pork ribs.
I've been honestly, you mentioned your barbecue in the past. I'm looking forward to seeing you in person, boss, one day and trying your barbecue. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that one day.
He is, Nathan, low and slow on the cooking when you're actually on the grill, and make sure you have a solid marinade.
Good to know.
Especially pork ribs. Pork ribs is so important to go low and slow because the second you overcook it, it like gets
nasty,
dry and chewy, and it's not right. Either way. So it was kind of fun doing that yesterday. And we had some masculine. So Matt, originally we're going to do the show Tuesday, but I can't do Tuesday. And then Matt can't do Monday. So I said, you know what, screw it. We'll do it during the day so I can, spend the night with my family. I could watch Diamondbacks Pirates tonight. I could watch Timberwolves and Thunder Game 4. And I could cook some steaks for my family as a thank you for not having me sit outside and spread manure and whatever the hell. My dad has this big garden. Okay, so like he loves planting in it, and it's staying his peppers, his vegetables. He likes going green with that stuff, right? But this year he bought the stankiest, nastiest smelling fertilizer. The cats are apparently having a battle royale in my office right now. So
nice.
Yeah, just of course, because I woke my cat up. My sister's cat's been up all day. So he's cracked out of energy and shows. So you're gonna hear some hissing at some point. But so yeah, no, I was like, you know what? Instead of spreading mulch and complaining when I get off the show, how about I just cook y'all dinner? So we're doing T-bone steaks, baked potatoes, and salad.
Baked potatoes. Nice.
Baked potatoes. By the way, healthiest carb for you to eat when you're trying to cut weight.
That is correct.
Besides sourdough bread, but obviously bread can.
Sourdough bread is good.
So I mean,
can be bad for you.
Your area of the country is known for it.
Damn right it is. Love me some sourdough, baby.
The one thing I would actually want to get from California, besides a little sunshine, is definitely some sourdough.
You complimenting California?
Listen, you have a beautiful state when it's not getting run into the ground. Who said that?
Appreciate it, boss.
Yeah. All right, so speaking of beautiful, I want to just give a minute to talk about, we'll go into the games one by one quickly. We'll make a quick little rundown on this before we start talking ball.
Yes.
I want to give a shout out to the BattleHawks. Their backups were moving the ball. They pulled Max Duggan, obviously, at halftime, and Silver came in. He was slinging the rock, too. He got some throws off to my boy, Hakeem Butler. Like, I'm sorry. Like, when the defenders next week we're gonna have the backup bowl between the defenders and Roughnecks. We know seating's not locked. I believe no, because if the defenders win again next week, the BattleHawks, I don't know, but they're already set with the location. It's weird. This is what Zach talked about. I would say this: you're gonna see probably both backups play next week when the BattleHawks play the defenders. I'm actually gonna see which backup squad is better. Because the BattleHawks only pulled about a couple starters, the quarterback and a few others. I didn't get to see a lot of who was in and who was out of the defenders game. I just kept watching the score, checking box scores when I could, and watching highlights. But the BattleHawks game I got to watch about 80% of while I was flipping back between that and Knicks and Pacers, obviously. And dude, it looked like I'd say like a high-powered college offense playing a bottom-tier team in their conference. So Ohio State playing Purdue, Miami playing Wake Forest, Penn State playing Rutgers, whatever, right? Like it was a very this is a butt-whooping score. And so, it gave me the same vibes as when, the Eagles put in two backup quarterbacks and whopped the Cowboys at home. So it was just kind of one of those games. Like Nate, I'm very happy for you. You're no longer a Browns fan because it would have been a miserable season for you.
Oh, thank God! I tell you, I pulled out after week 1, and I pulled out the Renegades week 3. So I got no, don't dog in the
It's
fight,
like the
boss.
second you left, the Renegades went to shit, which is my favorite part about all this.
Yeah, I love to see
Nate's
it.
the kiss of death, apparently. Oh, we got McCarthy joining us. Shout out McCarthy. He's in obviously the Instagram chat. He was dropping his usual man, I love football. But we'll move on quickly. Like we said, your Renegades rally the troops a little bit. Perez played well, at least when he was in. Showboats look awful. I busted Zach's chops enough last week about how the Showboats were a surprise team. Nothing really to see about this one. They're just a bad roster. Renegades, what a failed season, I guess is the best way to put it. They're the opposite of the Roughnecks. The Roughnecks were supposed to be terrible, and they're rolling now, and they just took out arguably the best team in the league, and the Renegades can barely get their shit together, and they just barely beat a bad. I mean, they did put a whooping on this bad team, but it was not what we expected to see, especially with how they started the season off 3-0, and we're beating all these good teams, and now we're like, oh, well, that sucks. But this is a usual Bob Stoops kind of game. Panthers and Stallions. If I'm a Panthers fan, I'm not really that worried. Obviously, Perkins did not play. He is their MVP candidate. He is the engine of that offense. But you have 2 starters on that offense already at quarterback that were backups, and y'all couldn't beat the Stallions who also had their backup in. And the Stallions just seemed like they had an answer on the offense every time they played. So that's all. That's the best I could say for it. Is they always seem to have a little bit more of an answer. And obviously, last but not least, Defenders Roughnecks. Maddie, what's up with your Defenders, dog? What happened?
At least they're locked in the playoffs. At least they're locked in, obviously.
Exactly. You know, what we could say is the playoffs are going to be great. It sucks that we got to do one more week of backups, but this is going to be hilarious to gamble on because nobody's playing their starters next week except for the 4 teams out of the playoff. So if you're betting on Birmingham, St. Louis, Michigan, or DC, good luck because it's going to be a crapshoot. Me, challenge accepted. I need to win one damn game, or Nate only needs to lose one game against me, or he needs to go perfect. You need to go perfect to catch me.
So whatever you pick, I don't pick.
Exactly. So I only need to shoot 25%. Which, hey, listen, I'm apparently an icon in the WNBA if I shoot that well. Shout out Angel Reese. Too soon? I mean, listen, apparently my girl Kelsey Plum gave her the too small thing where she hit a lamp over her. I was like, okay, I see you, girl.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, but the Chicago's 0-3 in the WNBA. Even though Angel Reese is playing good rebounding wise, but just not the team itself.
What also cracks me about it? We'll talk about. I think this is about it. Apparently, Haley Van List's barely playing. Like, why is my girl not playing? Like y'all are doing so good without her, right? 0-3.
They'll make some changes. But as in regards to the UFL, so the Stallions and Panthers are tied for the lead in the conference at 6-3. Regardless of what happens next week, the championship game will be in Birmingham, as we all know. And then with the BattleHawks, I assume, right, if you guys win,
we clinch
this upcoming weekend, and you guys will be hosting the championship game. And
we also hosting the championship, like the big one. That's is also correct. In St. Louis. So I don't know if they're
home field advantage.
I don't know if we're getting back-to-back weeks in St. Louis because I think DC still packs it in there. Like DC Stadium, I mean, it's smaller, but you literally will sell out the crowd for a playoff game. So I'm kind of with it. I think this is the best case scenario. The only one that's annoying is Birmingham. But we've talked about this ad nauseum. It's about marketing down there. Michigan, it's Ford Field. That's the problem. It's kind of hard to book that out. They try their best.
Yeah.
Yeah, but hey, listen. You'll sell out. The BattleHawks beat the Defenders in 2 weeks or 3 weeks now. I think they'll have no problem selling out that thing for the championship game. And by some miracle, I got the money for it. I'd fly out there and watch it. Hell yeah. But we got to talk some ball, some other ball, some basketball. Last night, the New York Knicks falling in the Timberwolves' footsteps, getting the game on them. Now, was it as much of an ass whooping as the Timberwolves dropped on Saturday? No. Was it still impressive? Yes. 106 to 100 final score. Cat was like unconscious. 24 points off 8 of 17 shooting. I believe he had a double as well. Yep, he had 15 rebounds. Just great game off the bench. The rest of the team, like, Anunoby and Bridges were good. Brunson was good. So the starters put up. The bench scoring for the Knicks was not great, but I mean, honestly, a win's a win. I'll take it to the bank there. On the side of Indiana, nobody, only Halliburton was the only one who got north of 20 points. Siakam did his normal usage. Miles Turner was effective, but besides that, the only guy off the bench who had more than who had double digits was McConnell. A lot more depth rotation, obviously, with the Pacers. I'm a little more confident that the Timberwolves series goes 7 than I am the Knicks and Pacers, because I think when you look at from my observation from games 1 and 2, you can shoot me down because you watch just as much, if not more, ball than I do. It looked like the Knicks at the end of both games 1 and 2 were failing to close out the game. Whereas in game 3, they finally got over that hump. Whereas with Minnesota was letting their emotions get ahead of them. They were playing overly aggressive on defense. They weren't making smart plays. They looked like they were overly just too worried about fouling or not fouling SGA. Game 3, they said, F it. Let's just play our game. And they kicked the snot out of them. I mean, yes, then again, everyone from Terrence Shannon to Luka Garza was lighting up the scoreboard. So, like, they were killing them. Like, this was like when you're playing 2K against your boy who hasn't picked up a controller in, like, a year, and you start dropping, like, 20 points with, like, random nobodies off the bench that nobody's ever heard of. That's what this game looked like to me. I knew this game was over when Ant got that steal and just did, like, the nice little, like, kickback slam. I'm just like, yeah, we got this. Minnesota's running. There was like a quarter tiny second of like, oh crap, they're coming back after half when they hit like 10 points in a row. But then Minnesota got hot. I'm like, okay, this is over. I still think the Pacers should be worried.
A little bit, yes.
I don't think it should be worried the Thunder, but I think, obviously both teams are very good. The Pacers, to me, they get apparently Halliburton's dad's coming back to the sideline tonight. Oh boy, here we go. No, but it's like a big who cares moment. Still win the game. Yeah. The Pacers' biggest thing to me was they have so many. They play a lot of guys. They can rotate dudes. Are they quality players coming in? Not as much as the Knicks, but they play their offense. I swear, half of the Knicks game is they don't play through they almost abandon their identity the second things go wrong, and you look like they're scrambling to get back. And just failed execution in game 2 was there. I watched, I think, almost that entire game, and just it seemed like in the third and fourth quarter, they just always seem to be just not making the last play, turning the ball over, missing shots, not grabbing rebounds. Like, it just always seemed like the Pacers were a step ahead. Now, we talk about Saturday's game. Because let's be honest, on Thursday, Minnesota, they just had a bad quarter and they couldn't overcome it. They were right there at halftime. They were running with them. Everything was working. And then they turn it around and they get smacked in the third quarter. And they played a great fourth. I think they outscored Oklahoma City in the fourth quarter, but it doesn't matter when you get outscored 35-21 in the second quarter, in the third quarter.
Yeah.
Awful.
It is.
And here's the kicker, because Minnesota had the lead with 45 seconds left in the second, and then made 3 sloppy plays that led to like 9-10 points, flipped the score by a couple points, and then they just kept the momentum going. So OKC was running with it. But now Minnesota was so about their business on Thursday. that we watched. You had a 42-point win. Yikes!
Impressive.
Everyone who said Minnesota was dead in the water, even Stephen A. Frontrunner Smith was like, Minnesota's dangerous. I'm like, yeah, they always have been. They just started playing their game. I think the biggest thing with Minnesota right now is they have to make sure, one, they don't let Shea get a full head of steam with a defender on his back. One, that leads to fouls. Two, it leads to him getting one-on-ones against Gobert or Garza or Naz Reid or whoever, or even Ant in the hole, or even Jaden McDaniels, where now like they've got a foul or they got an easy shot to the basket or he's going to hit his signature jumper from the wing. It's not economical. Make him come to you. Like, I think what Minnesota did in game 3 was they kind of backed the defense down a little bit and they worked from the baseline out instead of from the 3-point back. And I think playing that style of defense kind of allowed them to say, hey, listen, Shea, come at us, bro. And he literally would drive, and the whole little flop and go fouls weren't working as much. It looked like a more efficient defense. But, I mean, we got people in the comments already saying, oh, I'm going with Oklahoma City. I'm like, yeah, front runner pick. That's fine. Listen, I'm a Timberwolves fan. I've been suffering since 2004. But, yeah, this series is far from over.
No, yeah, both series are for sure. No doubt.
Let's be honest, though. This series could be over tonight, though, if Minnesota comes out and plays like they didn't want to. This all hinges on if they can have their discipline on defense and they can score. If they can even be half as efficient on offense as they were on the Thursday or Friday, Thursday. Saturday. Wow. Brain
Saturday. You're good. You're good.
Monday.
Saturday.
As good as they were on Saturday. And then they can just keep that defensive discipline. Yeah, it's going to be a close game. It's probably be like final score, Minnesota 110, Oklahoma City 107. Like, it's going to be tight, but Minnesota's good in tight ball games. They always have been. That's always been their shtick because they play suffocating defense and they're overly physical and they're not afraid of the jump shots. Just ask Denver last year or even the Lakers this year. When the games are close, Minnesota excels, whether they can kind of get defeated when they're down by 40, except for the epic comeback in last year's Western Conference Semis against Denver in Game 7. So there's a lot to go on here. I think the biggest thing with Oklahoma City, their key to win is, one, draw Minnesota out, let SGA get running and moving so he can draw his fouls. They got to hit their shots on open passing lanes. Because if they go cold and it's just SGA and he's not getting foul calls, they're in trouble scoring-wise. He starts looking like Raymond Felton on the Oklahoma City Thunder, not SGA. Like, I saw that meme today and I was laughing. I'm like, okay, you take away SGA's free throws, he turns into Raymond Felton on the Thunder. I'm like, that's brutal. Shots on you and my boy for UNC though, Raymond Felton. But dude, they got a point though. SGA, when he isn't getting his foul calls, he's an inefficient shooter. At least he has been in the series. I don't think he shot over 50% yet in the series.
He shot 4-13 last game. Was 13 to 50 from the free throw line in game 2, but shot 12 for 21 in that game, and then was 10 of 27 in game 1.
He's about 50%, 12 for 21.
Yeah, you're probably talking about game 1. He was 10 of 27, but had 11 free throws. So only one game shooting good so far in this series. But yeah, I mean, you guys, shooting's going to be a big factor, obviously, for you guys, especially if you guys want to win game 4 is just getting off to a good start, right? I mean, you guys had a 20-point lead after the first quarter, and you guys shot 50% from the floor, from 3-point range, I should say. So a very efficient shooting night for you guys in game 3. So game 4, same formula, keep it simple.
So my plea to the Timberwolves is the same plea I had to my Eagles in the Super Bowl. When you are up, keep beating them down until the game's over. Do not take your foot off the gas until you hear the whistle, because Oklahoma City has a lot of Kansas City Chiefs energy. Refs play for them a little bit. They play a brand of their sport, and they're very good at it, and they're very talented. So you cannot take your foot off the gas. This is not like the Lakers where they'll shoot themselves out of the game, and this is not like the Warriors where they're so banged up or they just don't have enough firepower scoring-wise. Oklahoma City does not have a bona fide 2 scorer. but they have about 7 bona fide threes. They have
I guess if you want to find it too, is Jalen Williams. If you really want it to be specific.
Jalen Williams hasn't been effective since game 1. He was barely effective in game 2. He was a no-show last week. I mean, on Saturday. So, like, that's my thing. It's like, let's be honest, Jalen Williams is probably a 3 or a 4 on half the other teams in this playoff. But he's very good at what he does in Oklahoma City. There's no disrespect to him. It's just there's a lot of good 1s and 2s in this playoff run. And Oklahoma City's system works to have one elite and a bunch of solid players around. They've won titles doing this. So, Hakeem Olajuwon, back in 1994 and 1995, one elite player and a bunch of solid players around him. I guess Kenny the Jet Smith can be considered great. Whatever. But that's my point. Like, there's a lot they can do with this. And my plea, if I am a Thunder fan, is make sure the guys are hitting their shots when they're getting them. And, keep on Minnesota. You want to get them emotional, get them pissed off, but not so pissed off where they go full murder ball on you. Pissed off like they're shoving you to the ground, getting called for cheap fouls, stuff like that. So that's at least my take on that series. What are your thoughts on Pacers Knicks? Like, what is your plea to both teams? How are you looking at it? Like,
Yeah, I think for Indiana, like, they had like a 20-plus point lead at some point in the first half, and the Knicks just came out in the fourth quarter and just did their thing. And not the funny thing, but I guess the most shocking thing is when the Knicks went on that run in the fourth quarter, Brunson was on the bench for most of it. Like, it was Cat and the other guys, stepping up and doing their thing. So that was a bit shocking to see. And Brunson talked about it post game with the inside guys, and he was talking about how that he needs to be a better leader and be a better teammate overall. And yeah, I agree. I mean, he only had 20 points in game 3, so not a Brunson performance like we're used to seeing. But overall, a heck of a comeback win by the Knicks. But for Indiana, they did get a little, they won the first 2 games. That was great. You're supposed to come back home and keep that momentum going. It looked like they were going to win game 3, and then they kind of just choked it after in the second half. So, same thing with the Wolves, right, boss? If you have a lead, keep the pedal, or keep the pedal to the metal, I guess, for lack of a better term. As for the Knicks,
all gas, no brakes.
All gas, no brakes. Yes, sir. And as for the Knicks, man, I mean, Cat was great yesterday. And if Cat has it going, the Knicks will win game 4. That's the key. He
Cat continues to show. Sorry.
No, you can bust that. I was like, you took the words out of my mouth.
if that's the Cat we see,
correct,
the Knicks win the series.
He's
100%. That hard of a. You can't tell me Miles Turner's gonna be able to keep up with him the entire series. Like, he's just too much on offense, and mixing in Mitchell Robinson and allowing the Knicks to kind of use their guys like Hart and Bridges just to kind of add his pieces. You're getting with, obviously, Brunson's the tip of the spear, but Cat is that kind of lethal number 2 where you're like, oh, this is why we got him. So I think star power is how the Knicks will win the series. Fundamentals and playing their brand of basketball is how the Pacers win the series.
Yeah, I will say for Cat, just be aggressive in the paint, man. I mean, yes, he can shoot threes and everything, and that's fine. But Shaq spoke it best. Shaq always is, when it comes to big men, he always loves his guys he loves big men in general, just be aggressive inside the paint. And hell, Cat is bigger than Miles Turner, I believe, I'm not mistaken. So just be aggressive, Cat. Get into the paint and do his thing, and it'll take the pressure off of Brunson and everyone else. So hopefully we'll see that in game 4. And if Indiana takes game 4, though, I think same thing with OKC. If they take game 4, it's gonna be tough for the losing team. I really
hope we see longer series, because let's be honest, a Pacers Thunder finals would be the most boring thing of all time. I couldn't think of a worse finals for like the for the NBA's marketing. Now, if you get even like, dude, like, I mean, maybe Wolves Pacers, because you can market the MVP. But like we really know the world wants Knicks Timberwolves. I think that'd be the most elite finals in terms of headlines.
Oh yeah, Cat coming back to see his or to visit to face his old team, stuff like that. Of course, for you, honestly, boss, you'd be a lucky man. I ain't gonna lie to you. You know, not to shift away from the basketball aspect. You'd be a lucky guy. I mean, your Eagles in the Super Bowl. Your Wolves if they make the finals, be in the finals.
Yep. Diamondbacks went 2 years ago. I had a lot of decades where I got a couple seasons where none of my teams made the playoffs. That'd be 2008. Oh, sorry, 2007 was the worst. Oh no, sorry, 07 Diamondbacks made it. Yeah, Diamondbacks. No, because I don't even know. There's been like weird years where because I've had like the Diamondbacks, Timberwolves, and Eagles all miss the playoffs. It's not fun. 2012 would be that season. I end of high school, I had some really rough years as a sports fan. Beginning of college was kind of like a new hope when we had that one good Chip Kelly year.
2022 was probably the best sports year of my life. I mean, my guys made the playoffs. We beat Minnesota. I was with my ex at the time. I remember it was the Giants-Eagles game. I was so hyped that day. I was like, we're going to upset the Eagles. Like, yeah, whenever we make the playoffs, we always make the Super Bowl. Later. And then I'm just sitting there, and she's like, you're still watching? I'm like, yeah, I believe. And we were down like 20 in the third quarter, I believe, or something like that. And I think a turnover happened. I forgot what play it was. And she just looked at me, started laughing. I was just like, all right, well, it was terrible.
What are you going to do, man? What are you going to do? That's okay. That's how it felt against the Bucks last year when they were just beating our head in.
Oh, yeah, I remember that one.
When our best receiver on the field was Julio Jones, and then he got concussion. I'm like, all right, season's over.
At least you guys have more depth now, receiver, question mark? Brown, Smith. I mean,
yeah, Terrence Marshall.
Yeah, the Panthers guy. Yeah. A little deep threat type stuff.
And then, obviously we lost Britton Covey, which sucks, but
the white boy.
I think Aeneas Smith had a great season last year. So did Johnny Wilson. That's a deep receiving core. So
Dotson, that's the other guy. Sorry.
Dotson's our slot right now. But there's a lot of dudes behind AJ and Devontae. So it should be a pretty interesting offseason. All right. And what's so funny right now? NFL's really been dead headlines wise.
Yeah, it's been some time because there's usually always something every week that kind of stands out when it comes to football. But I mean, we expected a dead period, right, in this point in time.
Well, I guess this is what's happening because I keep trying to check to find things to talk about in terms of let's something to talk about with the NFL or whatever. Like maybe there's some football headlines. Like, nah, what's trending is like baseball, NBA, a little UFL, and then like college women's softball and baseball. I'm like, you know what? Good for the sport of baseball. And you know what? The NFL does need some time down. Like the biggest headline I saw today was Aaron Rodgers still hasn't made a decision yet. There's a shocker.
I heard he's open to retiring as a Packer.
Yeah, I saw that.
He doesn't know if that's gonna like do anything. Like it's not like a big deal to him, I guess if he does.
Well, I mean,
he said that. My apologies. Go ahead, boss.
I mean, he's honestly almost more of a Packer quarterback than Favre was.
Yeah, but what happened towards the end? It was a messy situation towards the end.
That's Ted Thompson being an egotistical dick. It's not his fault. Or sorry, Mark Gutekunst.
Gutekunst.
It's weird, man. Like and this is really funny because usually we might just have to start doing some breakdown stuff for next week for the show because honestly, like right now, it's like we're in this weird in between spot where we can't really do All-Star break yet, and UFL. So UFL next week is the last week of the season for regular season. NBA playoffs. We have obviously Game 4 of the West tonight. Game 4 of the East is tomorrow. So that will be definitely very fun. Shout out to our sponsors. Candidates, promo code BELLYUP20 for 20% off your purchase at checkout. BellyUp is the code for our friends over at Righteous Felon, official sponsor of Nate's Penalty Box now, as well as various other segments on this show. Promo code BellyUp for 15% off your purchase at checkout. And of course, our friends at SeatGeek. the best ticketing app on the planet, Belly Up Sports, for $20 off your purchase at checkout on first-time purchase only. Some restrictions may apply. Check them out. Slower week this week, ladies and gentlemen. We want to do the show, talk a little updates. Probably our second shortest episode in probably about a couple since the start. But
Yeah.
obviously Thursday we'll probably bring a little more heat to it, and next Monday Matt will be back, so we'll have a good time with it. But ladies and gentlemen, you can follow Nate at All Things 3rd and 10. They're doing a show tomorrow as well. We'll see y'all Thursday for another episode of the Korner Booth pregame, and that's it. Happy Memorial Day.
Bye.